And before we dive in, it is so important here at Royal Roads University that we do an acknowledgement of traditional lands. Royal Road University acknowledges that the campus is located on the traditional lands of the Cosept, Esquimalt, and Lekwungen Songhees ancestors and families. It is with gratitude that we now learn and work here, where the past, present, and future of Indigenous and non-Indigenous students, faculty, and staff come together. So today's session, to make sure we're all in the right place in the right room, is an undergraduate information session. And with me in the room today, I have Christy Jones, education specialist. My name is Imara Angus. I'm also an education specialist. We have Selena Kunar joining us, who is also an education specialist, and Mark Dickinson, who is a global partnerships coordinator. Behind the scenes, we also have our enrollment team here to support. So as mentioned earlier, any questions pop into the chat, we'll address them in the presentation, or our enrollment team will address them in the chat. So the agenda today is welcome and introductions. And I'd actually like to take a moment to do a quick poll because we want to get to know everybody in the room a little bit better. So if you can look up at your screen, I'm going to launch a poll here. You should see it on your screen. And the question is, where are you joining us from today? And the options you can choose are Asia, Africa, Europe, North America, South America, Australia, Antarctica. And then we also have a second part to the poll. What programs and area of study are you interested in? And you can choose from business, environment and sustainability, communication and culture, justice studies, tourism and hospitality management, interdisciplinary, and not sure yet. And for that second question, you can select more than one because we understand that you're here to explore the different programs that we have to offer. So you don't have to choose just one. And if you're not sure yet, that is totally okay. We're here to help you with that. Okay, I'm going to give it about 5 more seconds to cast your answer, and then I will end the poll. Okay, 3, 2, 1, poll is ending. I'm going to share the results here. So we have about 9% of the people in the room joining us from Asia, and the other 91% from North America. We have about 36% interested in business, 36% interested in environment and sustainability, 9% interested in communication and culture, 27% interested in justice studies, and 36% not sure yet. Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. That really helps us get to know you a bit more today. And through today's session, we're also going to go through the Royal Roads University experience, program offerings, admission and applications, and at the end, we're going to have time to dive into some questions and have a conversation. And now I'm so pleased to welcome up Christy, who will continue today's session.
Thank you so much, Amara. So to dig into a bit about who we are, first we want to start off with where we are. So if you're unfamiliar with Royal Roads, we are located in Victoria, BC. So you can see some of the stats along here. 37 million people in Canada, but once you get down into the greater Victoria region, that is more like 367,000 folks. So the largest closest cities are Vancouver and Seattle if you do want to head over to the States. So there's some exciting places to hop over to pretty quickly. Some of the bigger industries that we have here are the tech industry, there's tourism and hospitality, education. Obviously, all of us work in education right now. And then we also have one of the mildest climates in Canada. So no matter if you are interested in the warm weather or a little bit of chilly weather, you get a tiny bit of both, I would say. So we can get some pretty warm temperatures in the summer and then a few days of snow maybe in the winter, but it's often pretty mild here. Our place. So obviously it's a little bit hard to get a feel for what the campus is like just from a map, but what we want to showcase here is that there's actually a lot of green space on our campus. So we're located on over 500 acres of old growth forest. So there is many beautiful places for you to get out into nature while you're on our campus. So it really is close to a city, but also feels like you're kind of removed into a very special and tranquil place when you are on our campus. So to dive into a few more photos of our campus, the top left-hand corner is Hatley Castle. So this is a focal point of our campus. It was built in the early 1900s by the Dunsmuir family. And it really is a wonderful hub of activity where we still have staff working in there. We have events and classes that happen in there when it's safe to do so, of course. And then it's also used for things like film projects. You can get married there too, which is kind of fun. But yes, if you've seen movies like X-Men or Deadpool, they were filmed right at this castle here. And then right behind the castle, you can see some of our academic buildings where you might have some of your classes, or you might check into student services and things like that right behind there. And then on the top right-hand corner, we have the Japanese gardens. So you can kind of see some of our gardens just adjacent to the photo of the castle there, but we have a whole network of interconnected manicured gardens that you can explore. So the Japanese gardens is just one of them, but we also have the Italian gardens. We have a croquet lawn. We have the rose gardens. So there's many beautiful places for you to take a walk through when you have a break in your studies. And then the bottom left-hand corner is a Esquimalt Lagoon. So we're also right on the water, which is really special. It's a bird sanctuary. So if you like wildlife and all of that sort of stuff, this is going to be a really special place for you to go and explore. And then in the bottom right-hand corner, we just wanted to give a bit of an ode to the fact that we have been doing online learning for over 25 years. So we'll dig through a little bit about our different delivery models further into the presentation, but that is an option that we do have, and we've been doing it for a very long time. And at this time, Amira, I'm hoping you can queue up another poll that we have on there. Since I spoke about wildlife you can see on our campus, and the fact that right by the water there's a bird sanctuary, we wanted to know, what birds do you think we have roaming around our campus? The top one there is turkeys, then we have parrots, emus, peacocks, or ostriches. So we will give that a few more minutes, and we'd love to know what you all think you might be able to find kicking around our campus. Okay, so the results are coming in. I think we can probably end it in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the winner is peacocks, which is the correct answer. We do have peacocks around our campus. That's not actually where the bird sanctuary comes in, though. We have different types of birds that you can see down at the water. But then there's also some peacocks that you can find exploring the campus, which is great. They sound really amazing and cool. So if you hear something that sounds a little bit like a dinosaur when you're on our campus, it's probably the peacocks. Okay, so heading on to our next slide here. Life on campus. So you saw a few snapshots of the buildings around our campus. That was not all of them, obviously, but we have many different buildings that are both historic and some that have been renovated to kind of have that still historic feel, but also have really amazing state-of-the-art functionality. Some buildings that are completely new builds as well. So there's a little bit of mix of both, which adds a lot of character. We have a recreation center that is available to students, and you can take classes or just exercise in whichever routine works for you, which is an amazing resource. The next one on here is accommodation. So when you do stay for a shorter time period on campus, we do have accommodation that is very much dorm style on our campus. So it is quite affordable if you're coming for a residency, which can be anywhere from like a week to 3 weeks, where you can stay right on campus, but we do not have long-term accommodations. So if you are taking a full-time on-campus program, then you'd be looking at accommodation in apartments, suites, things like that around the surrounding areas. Next one on here is food and drink. So we have Habitat Cafe on our campus, and then a few other coffee shops located around the campus as well, where you can, fuel up, take a study break and grab a coffee and things like that. And then safety and security is obviously really important. We have an amazing team that's always making sure that everybody feels really secure on campus and is there at a really central location for you to reach out to if anything comes up and you need support or anything like that. So why explore Royal Roads? There's a few points on here that I think really sets us apart from other institutions. And the top one on here is we see life as a qualification. So when you apply to a program with us, we really take a look at who you are holistically and what experiences you have in your life that would contribute to your success in the program. So obviously your educational background is going to be something we look at, but also things like work experience, volunteer experience, life experiences in general, projects that you've worked on, perhaps conferences that you've attended, anything like that we think is really valuable to who you are as a whole when you are applying to our programs. The next one on here, profs who know your name. I know this seems like a little thing, but it really is something special if you've attended a large institution where you might have been one pupil in a sea of hundreds of students in an auditorium. So we don't have that sort of large auditorium experience at Royal Roads, but we do have smaller class sizes where you really get to know your professors and your classmates on a super personal level, and they become resources that you can draw on throughout your whole program, and they can become a part of your network after you're done the program as well. The next one on here is learning based on life. So anything that you're going to be learning in our programs is going to be very current and have the ability to address the challenges that we're facing out in the world today. So we are a smaller and more nimble institution. So that can mean that the type of content that we teach in our classes is really easy to adapt, and we are always making sure that it is really current. And as well, whatever you're learning, say in your job or goals you want to reach outside of the classroom, we really encourage our students to bring that into what they're learning and base their projects off of it, use it to add context to what they're learning and things like that. We think that really adds a ton of value to the whole classroom. The next one here, connections for life. So throughout most of our programs, we have what we call a cohort model. So that means that you start your program with one group of people, you learn with them throughout the whole program, and then you finish the program with them. And this creates this awesome bond between this group of people that can really create some strong relationships that you can draw on both personally and professionally far past when you graduate. So I'm an alumni of Royal Roads, and I can really attest to this being like one of the more special parts of being a part of the program is just the different people that you get to learn from. I really wasn't expecting that, but it was a really great part of the program. And then the last one on here was we were built differently. So over 25 years ago, when we started out, we did start out with a mandate to offer education for people who might want to work full-time at the same time, or they have family and different obligations and things like that. That makes it a little bit harder to go to a traditional university. So we were built with the idea that we would provide options for those folks who might want to learn at a different part of the country or things like that. And that has, although we do have both on-campus and online programs, we really pride ourselves on being able to offer different options like that for really a lot of flexibility. And with that, I will hand it over to Selena to take us through some of the delivery models we offer.
Amazing. Thanks, Christy. Well, as Christy mentioned, we have a variety of ways that we offer our education here at Royal Roads University. So on this slide, you can see the one that will kick us off today, on-campus delivery. And it means just that. You'll have a fairly traditional university experience in the sense of you will be taking typically 5 classes at a time with short breaks in between your 4-term cycle. Generally, you're on campus from about 8 to 5, Monday to Friday, though some of our programs, as we learn, they have some lab components and some field experience, so that will differ based on the program that we're chatting about. These programs are great for folks who are able to take some time to fully commit themselves to their studies, and by doing so, complete their education in an accelerated format. So again, it'll depend on the program we talk about today, but generally our on-campus deliveries are accelerated, meaning the undergraduate programs you're interested in the on-campus format will typically be 1 year in length. So on the next slide, we're going to talk about online delivery. So some of the programs here at Royal Roads University are fully online. Sometimes folks can get online learning confused with correspondence learning. So, you remember the format of, you get mailed a big package of papers, you fill them out, you mail them back. That is not our style. So on the slide, you can see a variety of ways that despite being fully online, we're still able to connect. So from feedback from your peers, team assignments, your forum posts, your reflective activities, we have all sorts of ways that you're able to keep connected with your cohort and have conversations with your faculty. This option is really great for folks who are hoping for a more flexible alternative. Our courses are what we call asynchronous. So what that means is there is no, you gotta be logged in Monday at 6 p.m. for 2 hours. No, what that means is you will have deadlines. So right off the bat, your faculty will let you know when your assignments are due, what they consist of, and your participation or other engagement posts. But then it's up to you to decide when works best to log into what we use called Moodle to start chipping away at some of that work. You will have some faculty who provide the option of, hey, we have a lecture on Tuesday, though they will not be mandatory and always recorded. So this is a great option for folks who are hoping to continue working while studying. Our next slide is blended delivery. So where we bring together the best of both worlds. So about 80% of your learning, 80 to 90% of your learning will be done online. So again, where you get that flexible schedule, you can anticipate about 15 to 20 hours of work a week. So we do call our programs akin to having a part-time job. They will absolutely take a chunk of your time. But as Christy mentioned earlier, Royal Roads University is a university with programming targeted for working professionals. So if you are opting for our online or blended models, the programs are curated with you in mind, knowing that you will be working 30+ hour weeks. So for online learning, you have the flexible ability to check in and check out of our site when you need to get your assignments completed. But you have the added benefit of short learning intensives on our campus to meet your cohort in person and have some really deep and seminar type discussions. So when you're on campus, you will again assume that 8 to 5 working style, but you'll know on this slide, we have an 8 to 5 plus. And that plus is because when you're on campus, you're typically gonna have team assignments. So you're gonna continue the fun after class in the library or in our beautiful gardens, but you'll also wanna connect with your cohort members. As Christy mentioned, if you're here for our short learning intensive, we do have accommodation available on campus. And with that, you generally get what we call lounge learning happening. So where everyone's in their comfy clothes, you have something warm to drink, and you're just hanging out in the lounge, and very organically and naturally, you start talking about what you explored that day. I am from Victoria, but when I chose to do a program here at Royal Roads, I elected to stay on campus for that exact reason. My cohort was from all across Canada and beyond, and many were choosing to stay on campus. So I did too, to make sure I could participate in the fun and get to know everyone really well. So that's wonderful. We're gonna head to the next slide. And this next slide here continues talking about some wonderful people. So our global network. So at Royal Roads, we almost have 30,000 alumni in just 25 years. Our alumni represent over 163 countries, with 6,200 of them engaging online in RRU Connect. So RRU Connect is a sort of social networking platform built just for Royal Roads alumni. It actually looks a little bit like LinkedIn and serves a similar purpose, where you're able to share fun information, articles, and where people are always networking as well. So once you are a part of our programs and you are one of our proud graduates, you join our global network and start connecting with folks from all across the world as well. As we talk about our programs today, I'll note that if you would like to chat with any of our alumni, please connect with Rhonda. Rhonda is one of our amazing enrollment specialists, and what they're able to do is to connect you with an alumni to get some firsthand knowledge of what it was like really living and breathing undergraduate learning at Royal Roads. So with that, I'll go to the next slide that just touches really quick on some shared features of our various programs here at Rural Roads. So each of us will kind of take a turn talking about some of the undergraduate programs we have here, but these features are common to all of our programs. So for example, being degree completion. So what that means is all of the programs we're talking about today are where our students are actually entering in their learning at year 3. Year 3 of a standard 4-year degree. So as mentioned, those folks who are learning on campus, you think, oh, my program is only 1 year. Exactly. We are smushing year 3 and 4 into a 12-month period to get you in and out as soon as we can, while still ensuring the quality of your education. For folks who are opting for our online or blended programs, you're going to hop in and have a 2-year experience with us at Rural Roads, completing your program with your full undergraduate degree. As mentioned, we are offered an online, on-campus, and blended deliveries, so we'll know all of the different programs and their delivery models as we go. And of course, our admissions model. So all of our programs here have standard and flexible admission opportunities, as well as opportunities for those joining us from our partner institutions to block transfer into our programs. But we'll talk about that in a few slides. This next slide here gives you a quick snapshot of all of the undergraduate programs we're just going to briefly breeze through today. While we're chatting, we'll pop links in the chat box for any webinars that we have coming up for these programs. And in our follow-up, we'll be sure to include the webinar recordings for any programs that we might not have a session at coming up in these next few weeks. So while you quickly breeze through those slides, I'm going to take a second to talk to you about our BA in Justice Studies. So whether you're considering using education to kick off your career in justice, or if you're using a degree to propel yourself further in education, our program lets you use real-world experiences to gain practical understanding of today's justice issues. So through this program, you can expect to gain a solid understanding of the Canadian legal system, in-depth knowledge of the justice system, and hands-on training in alternative dispute resolution and practices. Our graduates from this program, they work in sectors like criminal justice, social justice, advocacy, human rights, conflict management, dispute resolution, and of course, law enforcement as well. Though some of our graduates do continue their education, moving towards things like law school or pursuing other types of graduate degrees. So our BA in Justice Studies can take you almost anywhere depending on where you're hoping to focus within the justice sector. And this program is delivered both on campus in a 1-year format or blended over 2 years. So with that, we're going to head over to the next slide, and I'm actually going to tag my wonderful friend, Emira, to tell you all about our professional communication program.
Wonderful. Thank you, Selena, and thank you, Christy. So just to make sure, I know this is about the halfway point through our session, I'm going to launch a really quick poll just to make sure everybody is getting their random facts of Rural Roads trivia. So I'm going to launch it right now. You're going to look up at your screen, and the question is, how did the Dunsmuirs, so that's the people who lived in Hatley Castle, transport the stained glass windows for their castle from England to Canada? And this is one of my favorite fun facts. Okay, so the options are inside barrels of whiskey, inside barrels of molasses, inside barrels of kittens, or inside barrels of seawater. Okay, I see a few people casting their vote. I'm going to give it about 5 more seconds, and then I'll dive back into the BA in Professional Communication, which I know everybody really wants to hear more about. Okay, 3, 2, 1, ending the poll and sharing the results. Okay, so the answer is inside barrels of molasses. So they actually transported the stained glass windows from England to Canada inside barrels of molasses. So it looks like most people thought it was barrels of whiskey or barrels of kittens. So only about 13% guessed barrels of molasses. Awesome. Thank you all for taking part in that poll. And now back to today's presentation. So I'm going to talk a bit about the BA in Professional Communication. So this is a program for people who are either already working in the field of communication or are looking to work in the field of communication. And communication is such a broad area. So we have people and students that are from government that join the BAPC program, or we have people who are wanting to work in not-for-profits, lots of different variety in the types of people in the program. And it's really a program that's designed for students who want to pursue a career in something like public relations or social media management, business communication. There's also that visual aspect to communication, so visual communication, public advocacy, stakeholder management, crisis communication, advertising, like you name it. It's a very, very, very broad degree. And within the program, you'll take courses such as media and cultural studies, visual communication, public persuasion, or communication planning and stakeholder engagement. This program is offered either 12 months on campus in a degree completion, or a 24 months blended program that involves, as Lena mentioned earlier, online and on-campus learning, and it's a 2 immersive 2-week on-campus residencies. Now we're going to jump to the next program as well, and I should briefly mention that we just had a webinar for the BA in Professional Communication. So we'll share out that video recording, and we will have another webinar for that program coming up soon. So now jumping into BComm in Entrepreneurial Management. So the word entrepreneurial, like with our BComm, it is for both people who are wanting to enter into the world of being an entrepreneur, or are already there but would like to have formalized education around it, and also for entrepreneurs. So those are people who are working within an organization with an entrepreneurial mindset. So within the BComm program, you'll take courses such as managerial accounting and finance. You'll also take operations management and courses such as environmental and corporate social responsibility. We have our full course listings on our website as well, so you can really dive in and see the different programs available. The BComm program is delivered in a blended format with a mix of online learning and on-campus or virtual residencies, depending on what the COVID situation is like. And there's also a 24-month blended online learning with 3 immersive on-campus residency option. And we also have another business program that's an undergrad business program. It's the BBA in Innovation and Sustainability. So this program really addresses today's business, social, and environmental challenges. And throughout this BBA, you'll work on a series of client projects. So it's really that hands-on learning. Like there's not a division between the classroom and the real world, I guess you could call it. It's all integrated. You're going to be working on hands-on client projects throughout the program, and you'll develop different business skills and critical thinking skills, and also the tools to enter the world of business. You'll also take courses such as project management, behavioral economics, and marketing. And the BBA is a full-time 4-year undergraduate degree we'll dive into this a little bit later, for people entering from high school. This is something that Christy will talk about, as well as a 16-month full-time on-campus degree completion option. So that's essentially the years 3 and 4 for eligible students. And now I'm so pleased to welcome Christy back up, who will be talking about more of our programs offered in the undergraduate level.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Amira. So now we're going to dive into our Bachelor of Science in Environmental Science program. This is offered in 2 different formats. So firstly, we have the 12-month on-campus program. So that is full-time, face-to-face. This is a more intensive version of it. So if you complete your 2-year diploma at a different institution, you can finish your whole degree in 3 years when you transfer to Royal Roads. Or if you do want to take it in that full 2 years, we have the 24-month blended option. So that would be online learning with three-week residencies on campus. So that would be once at the beginning, once in the middle, and once at the end. So you can really kind of pick which one would suit your lifestyle more than that, more than one or the other. So with this program, there's going to be quite a bit of lab work, but also you get to use the whole campus as a living lab in this program. So there's different sort of projects and things that really take you out into our over 500 acres of old growth forest to take, water samples, to look at different trees, things like that. You can tell that I'm not the most environmentally science oriented one. So I really want to encourage you to connect with us on exactly what those projects look like. We can connect you with alumni to discuss what they've really done and how they've customized their own projects, like using our campus or using the surrounding areas as part of their learning. So I always think that's a really cool part of this program. And then as far as the courses that you might actually take within that, it can be atmospheric and oceanic sciences, it can be chemistry, land use planning, all sorts of different things really that you take within this program that really give you a good basis and set you up well to have a degree and a career that's science oriented and that really sets you up for what is a super big growing industry. So we can expect there to be many jobs going forward in the environmental sector, which is very exciting, but it can cater to those who are looking to work in industry, who are looking to work in government, environmental organizations. It really can span a whole wide range of what you can do with it. And I'm also going to share, while I'm at it, we do have an upcoming webinar that will focus a little bit more on this program as well with two of our program heads. Into the next program here, we have our environmental practice program. So the link that I just shared will actually speak about this program as well during the webinar. But this one is actually a fully online program, which is really, really flexible and a great option for many people. So you will either choose between the Bachelor of Arts or the Bachelor of Science stream. And that really depends on what you kind of want to focus your courses on some more. So within this program, you get a lot of customization opportunities to pick whichever courses that you want to take. So for instance, the Bachelor of Arts can include things like ecology, but also human geography. It can include things like human health and wellness, development and political change, many different topics like that. Or if you're taking a science stream, it can include things that are a little bit more focused on chemistry, biology. It can also include things like public policy, sustainable development, and things like that. So that can really, make it easy to customize if you want to focus a little bit more on the science stream of thing, or if you want to focus a little bit more on the humanities and the social aspect of the environmental issues that we're seeing in the world today. So like I said, this is a fully online program and you can make it part-time, but you can also speed up the amount of time that you take it as well. So you can take it in as little as 2 years, or you can space it out to take up 7 years. So this is a really amazing option if you know that you want to finish your degree, but you're not in a particular hurry. You might be working a lot of hours and things like that. Or sometimes things come up in life and you might need to take a break from your studies or things like that. So that's when this is a really wonderful option, because you take one course at a time if you'd like to do that, and decide what speed you want to go. So you can also take designated courses from universities across Canada. So you have a bunch of different options right at Royal Roads that will make up your whole set of courses. Or if you want to take courses at different institutions and transfer those in, there's also opportunities there too, which is very cool because you can really pick and choose what is really important and interesting to you in your degree. And then this one also aligns with the Eco-Canada occupational standard for the environmental sector. And then it really sets you up with the academic credits you will need to apply for the environmental professional certification. So Eco-Canada is really a leader in the industry as far as the environmental careers that you can get. They do a lot of industry research on where this industry is going to go in the future. And they also do a lot of their own training and information sessions and things like that, short courses and such. And then, of course, they have certification programs that are industry recognized and things like that. So we have a partnership with them for this program. So when we developed it, we made sure that it was aligning with the industry itself and what is going to be important for folks to learn in their classroom today to make them successful in their careers after that. So next, we're going to be heading into our tourism programs. So the first one here is the Bachelor of Arts in Global Tourism Management. This can be for folks who want to make a positive difference through tourism. So it can be focusing on sustainability, on social change through tourism. And it really invites people to envision a future for tourism that really takes into account the communities where people are traveling and how to maximize the experiences for travelers, as well as make it the most optimal experience for the tourism providers and the communities as a whole. So this is a 2-year full-time on-campus program, and within that, you have the option to engage in a 3-month internship, and this part can be anywhere in the world, which is very cool. So if there's somewhere that you've always wanted to work, or maybe you're from a different country and you want to have an internship in your own community, you have options there. And then with this, there's also many study abroad opportunities. So if you do want to take a portion of your program or semester at a different institution, there's many that we have partnerships for this program. And then who's it for? So this is for students who are interested in global tourism opportunity, trends and issues, and then they want to perhaps become tourism managers or even entrepreneurs. Many of our graduates end up starting their own business in a tourism focused area, which is very, very cool. And with that, I'm going to share a link to an upcoming webinar that we have that's going to focus a little bit on this program. And in particular, it's going to showcase the learning experience that's offered throughout this program through a mock lecture, which is going to be a lot of fun. So if you're wondering what it's like to be a student in our programs, this might be a session that you'll want to check out. And then as well, we will be discussing in that same webinar our Bachelor of Arts in International Hotel Management program as well. So this one is also a 2-year full-time on-campus program. You also have the opportunity to do a 3-month internship anywhere in the world. And again, study abroad opportunities. So many of these features are similar in both of these tourism programs, but what makes it different is what you really want to get out of the program itself, what you want to learn in the program, and kind of which sector within tourism that you want to work. So this program in particular is for students who are interested in working in something like a boutique hotel, a cruise ship. If you want to manage food and beverage, be front desk at a resort, things like that. And you might take courses in sales and service. You might take it in event management, festivals and sports, hotel facilities management. So if this is really a sector that you are interested in working in, this is a great program to check out. And then next we have our BA in Interdisciplinary Studies. So if you are undecided about which program you want to take, or there's been several things that have piqued your interest throughout all of the programs that we've discussed, then this might be a great option for you. This program essentially allows you to customize your program completely with different courses from all of the programs that we have just talked about. So if you want to take classes in justice studies, if you want to take a few courses in communications, if you're interested in the environment and you're not quite sure that you want to take just one of those programs, you can actually customize your own degree and really specialize in something that is unique to you and what you want to get out of your education. So this is a really, really cool option. And within that, you can complete this degree fully online, or you can also do a blended option. So you can join in on a residency in a different program, and that allows you to have that on-campus experience. And there may be some options as well to do an on-campus course itself too. So there is a lot of flexibility in what that sort of delivery model can look like for you. And then there's also the option to select courses from other post-secondary institutions and transfer those back in. You can also choose an internship option. And then something that's really great, because I know with a degree like this, some folks may be wondering, how do I really showcase this to an employer when I'm looking for a job or things like that? And being able to declare an area of concentration really does make this a super clear way to really describe what you learned about. So if you're somebody who wanted to take some environmental courses, but also some justice studies courses, you may declare a concentration that is focused on justice studies and environmental studies, or something like along those lines. So this really allows you to declare what your expertise is throughout this program. And then to complete the program, you can choose between a professionally focused capstone consisting of an independent study and a senior research paper and project. So you can choose from many different courses, like I said, but there is 3 courses that you will take to start off the program. So those ones are Writing Across Disciplines, Introduction to Interdisciplinary Studies, and then global Perspectives on Indigenous Ways of Knowing. So you take those 3 courses first, which really sets you up with a great foundation. And then you go on to really pick your courses and customize your degree. Okay, and I'm also going to share a link in the chat box to an upcoming webinar that we have that's going to dive into this program a little bit more if you're curious to see what this option could look like for you. And then finally, I'm just going to briefly mention we have a 4-year degree option. So this would be more tailored to students who would be coming in internationally who have not yet achieved fluency in English. So the first year would look like a common curriculum to build competencies and things like global citizenship, critical thinking, all the way down to social justice. The second year is where you'd branch off into an area that is more of interest to you, like business administration, global tourism management, or international hotel management. And then the third and fourth year is where you join into a cohort that's starting off the program in any of the ones that we have just talked about, within the global tourism, the business administration, and the international hotel management. So you would join in with students who could be Canadian or international and finish off the 2 years there. So if you are an international student, this is the one 4-year degree option that may be of interest to you to look into. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Mark Dickinson to head into some of the supports and resources that we have at Royal Roads.
Great, thanks, Christy. There's several ways that Royal Roads supports their students, and one, we really want students to succeed in their program, but we're also very concerned about our students' health and well-being. So we want to look after their mental and physical health as well. So there's some of the examples are accessibility services, counseling, team coaching. We have a writing center. That there are many ways that we support our students, and this support is offered to students whether you're on campus or online. Can I have the next slide, please, Chrissy? A very important resource is our financial aid and awards team, because financial planning should be part of any education plan. And our financial aid and awards team are willing to help. They're a great resource for helping students navigate student loan systems, and they're also available to help students to find out if there's funding available to them through awards, bursaries, and scholarships and things like that. So that's definitely a great resource to reach out to. Next slide, please. Application support. I really urge everybody, one of the most important people you can speak to is one of our enrollment advisor teams. Again, Rhonda White is on the call or on the webinar right now. We've only just touched on the programs, and reaching out to one of our enrollment advisors, they'll be able to give you in-depth details about the program. They can help you with the application process. We talked about the standard and flexible admissions, and they can definitely sort of help you understand that process, especially if you think you might be a flexible admissions candidate. Our enrollment team can help you connect with the campus services or student services as well. They can help you connect with program faculty and alumni. And as we were saying earlier, talking to an alumni is a great way to get really an unfiltered opinion of someone's experience at Royal Roads, just being a student, and then beyond being a student as well. And we'll now go into transfer agreements. So we have several transfer agreements with partner schools all over Canada, as well as the US and the rest of the world. We're always looking for partnerships that really align with Royal Roads, both in our values and quality of education. There is a full list of the transfer agreements partners that we have listed on our website, but I really encourage you to reach out to our enrollment team to discuss the whether your school does have an agreement with Royal Roads, and if not, your other options. Next slide, please. So if you're wondering what a transfer agreement is, it's really a partnership with another college or institution, or sorry, university, and really it's a pre-approval of our partner colleges programs. So we look at those programs, and if they meet our admission requirements, we create an agreement. And these agreements really create a nice, smooth pathway for students to come to Royal Roads University, because they know that they're in a program that is going to meet our admission requirements. And as we mentioned, we do offer a full block transfer into that year 3. That's a full 60 credit block transfer. If you're in a program, a diploma program, and we don't have a transfer agreement in place, that's no problem, so long as the program you're in is a 2-year 60 credit program, and it aligns with our the admission requirements of the program that you're interested in. And again, talking to an enrollment advisor, they can let you know if the program you're currently in does meet those requirements, and if not, maybe there's an extra course or two that you have to take to meet those admission requirements. And whether it's through a transfer agreement or through standard admissions, we're looking for a minimum of a B average once you complete your diploma to come to Royal Roads University. How to apply? It's very simple. It's an online application with a fee of $128.81. With any application, we're looking for any transcripts that from programs that you have taken, and the transcripts need to be official, and by official, they need to come directly from the issuing institution to Royal Roads University. It's used to happen by mail, but now with COVID, it's one of the positives with COVID is we can do it a lot of the times electronically, but it does need to come from that institution directly to admissions team, and that usually starts with the applicant calling their registrar's office and asking for the application, or sorry, the transcript to be sent. I should mention that if you're thinking of applying and you're in a program at another institution, you don't need to wait until you've finished that program. You can apply before you've finished your current program. And how that would look is you would put your application in, send your current transcript to our admissions team. They would have a look at your application. If it looks like you're on track to complete your program and get that B average, then you would receive a conditional offers acceptance, and then when you finish your program, you submit your complete transcript. As long as you've got that B average, you get that seat in the program. There are other documents that you may be asked for, and that's, for example, if you were coming through as a flexible admission applicant, would be a detailed resume, personal statements or statement of intent, and two references. And again, if the enrollment team would really help you understand what we're looking for by the resume and the letter and the references. They would give you advice on what kind of content that should be in those documents, so when you submit them, they help to support your application. Next slide, please. So yeah, if you're ready to take that next step, or you have any other questions, I strongly advise you to reach out to our enrollment team. The domestic enrollment team is at learn.more@royalroads.ca, and the international team can be reached at learn.more international@royalroads.ca. And I'll post those the links to their emails down in the chat. Next, so that brings us to the end of our presentation, and thank you for joining us. And so we will now attempt to answer any questions you have.
A question that came up as a private message for me was just clarifying the time commitment for our blended or on-campus programs. So of course, for each program, things are going to be a little different. Each student, things are going to be a little different. But generally for our blended programs, they are built for folks who are working full-time. For example, I believe all of us here, between the educational specialists and our pathway coordinators, we've all taken programs at Rural Roads while working on this team full-time. That said, that short learning intensive, when you are on campus for those, that's when we really hope that you're able to unplug and come and immerse yourself in the learning experience. So that again, that's an 8 to 5 plus, where you'd be expected to be locked in a very full schedule. So during that time, it would be extremely difficult to anticipate working from your laptop or perhaps childcare and things like that. So if you are thinking of our blended programs, head to our website for those programs, because we do have most of our program schedules listed, and those will let you know when those residencies fall and the exact dates. That sometimes can help students understand which intake might be best for them. If you are joining us fully on campus, that is, again, 5 courses at a time. You're pretty fully loaded. So while we recommend folks take the time to immerse themselves in that intensive experience, because it is quite intense, we understand that sometimes folks need to be working as well. So we wouldn't encourage anything past part-time work, as again, you'll likely have some assignments and things. You'll need to get connected with your group after class time. I'm just going to scroll down in this chat box here. So Mark has provided, again, the emails for our domestic enrollment team. So that's what Rhonda and her wonderful group here on campus, and then learn.more.international@rollroads.ca for Rhonda's international counterparts, who are the ones who have their fingertips on information available for those training us internationally. So if you have any questions about visas, study permits, that is the email for you. So I have a question here about if we can unmute and ask questions. You are welcome to try. I am not too sure about the settings of this Zoom room, but if you are unable to unmute, you're welcome to type as well. Let us give a click or two and get our chat box running for you.
Can you guys hear me?
Amazing. Hi.
Hey, I'm Eunice. I'm from Calgary. I'm doing a diploma in justice studies at Valley College, and I'm hoping to transfer after I finish. So my question is in regards to student loans. Do they work by semester, or do I have to apply for student loans and it covers the whole program at once?
Yeah, so I would suggest reaching out to our financial aid and awards team. They will be able to help answer that question for you. I'm going to find that a link to their to them so you can reach out to them directly, and I'll pop it in the chat for you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep thinking again, and then I might have some other questions later. Thank you, guys.
Amazing. Thank you for your great question. And as Mark's popping the information in the chat box, we'll note that our financial aid office is skilled with answering questions about any sort of financial aid across Canada, and can help add to the search for questions that might be a little more international as well. So please do connect with our financial aids and awards office. We are a very wonderfully sized institution, and what that means, and with much of our learning being done online, folks aren't on campus with us, so they forget our financial services is there. So there's lots of funding to apply for, both internally and externally. So it's worth an email, and you might qualify for more funding than you realize. Brian, yes, please unmute. We'd love to hear from you.
Awesome, thanks. I'm currently studying at Algonquin College, interested in moving to justice studies. And I'm taking a look at the website right now. It says effective dates, December 1st, 2016 to November 30th, 2021. So I'm in my third term right now. Going into my fourth term, obviously those dates are going to be out of play. So I'm just wondering if there's a date that, I don't know, December 1st, that those might change and we might see some new developments there, or?
I'm happy to answer that question, Brian, because I'm working on that, renewing that agreement now. I'll be honest with you, I don't see any reasons why it won't be renewed, but if there is a delay in us renewing the agreement, we'll honor the current agreement. So no worries there, no problem.
Great question. I see we had a question in the chat box. So for financial aid and bursaries, in order to apply for those, do they renew for application on a semester/term basis or once per academic year? That's a great question as well. And that'll depend on the type of financial aid that you're applying for. So for example, when I was in my program, our wonderful program staff would always share different scholarship or bursary opportunities that presented itself. And sometimes they would be things that you'd apply for once, but the funding was reoccurring, you get it every term. Some things were one-off. So it really depends on the specific funding aid opportunity or scholarship/bursary you're applying for. But again, our financial aid folks will be able to tell you a little bit more about that as well.
I'll just add in there as well, something to keep in mind is we do have several time periods a year where the awards competition opens. So that is something to note, that if you are hoping to have more of your program funded, it may actually be worth it for you to take a blended option that's 2 years instead of the accelerated 1-year option, because that means that you have more opportunities throughout that time to apply for awards. And you can apply for the same awards each time, and then you have a better chance of getting them on one of the opportunities that you apply. So that's just a little tip that might be handy to know too, is there's different financial aid opportunities if you decide to take a blended program that's a bit longer or versus an intensive program that's a bit shorter. And when it comes to like government loans and things like that, it is always best to reach out with our financial aid team, just because every province likes to make it a little bit different, which makes it hard to give a definitive answer sometimes.
And Christy, you got my wheels turning. So while our financial aid and awards, we have competitions opening up at different times in the year. It's important for us to note that admissions at Roll Roads is open all year as well. So depending on the program that you're interested in, you'll notice a certain application date and then a start date. So that might differ from a different program you're looking at Roll Roads. So we don't have the traditional, everybody starts in September. Our programs start all different times of the year. And that's how we're able to offer a few different intakes as well. So if you are interested in any of our programs, we highly recommend getting your online application in, as that lets us know that you're interested in the program. So if you have any questions about that, always connect with us, connect with Enrollment Services, and we can help you out. But know that you do not need to wait until the application deadline to submit your documents. Feel free to apply to our programs when works best for you. Here at Roll Roads, we don't wait for that deadline and then assess all the applications that came in. Once your application comes into our offices and you've sent in your supporting documents, we're actually able to let you know in just a few weeks about your seat in the program. So that's how some of our intakes can fill up fairly quickly if there's an optimal time of year for folks. So please do give that a think. and reach out if there's any time we can help you. I recognize we're at 5:01. So Christy, I'm going to toss it back to you to maybe send us on our way.
Sure. Alrighty. Yeah. With that, again, we encourage you to reach out if there's anything that piqued your interest throughout this presentation. And feel free to ask us any other questions. And we will be sending out this recording to everyone afterwards if you do want to revisit anything. But yes, we thank you all so much for coming today and for learning a little bit more about Royal Roads. And to everybody on the presenting team today and the staff behind the scenes who help make these sessions run. Really appreciate you all. So with that, we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and that we might see you at some point in the future. Alrighty, bye everybody.